Love this man. His podcast, 10 Questions with Kyle Brandt, is just taking off. So is his entire career. You can watch him on Frogger right here on Peacock. He also had a little cup of coffee on CBS, the NFL Today this past week as well, while game day morning was off. He's on Good Morning Football every single morning on NFL Network at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Kyle Brandt back here on the show. How you been, Kyle?
Rich, there are many shows. There are many good shows, but there is not a better on-hold show than the Rich Eisen Show. The things that I just heard as I'm sitting here with this phone to my where do I even react? That you had a caller basically insinuate that Brockman was Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, I think, of the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then I had Mariucci wearing a zipper gimp mask, and Michael Irvin saying, Rich, I think Mariucci's sleeping, and then you putting your hand on his head saying, well, I guess you better go wake him up then. I mean, what am I listening to on this beautiful Thursday?
That's right. It's a Pulp Fiction anniversary. We're getting calls of people with large imaginations. And
it's the best.
It is that. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's jump in with both feet here.
Okay.
You and I were both pounding the table for Justin Fields. It feels good for me. How does it feel for you right now?
Well,
Kyle?
You just mentioned large imaginations. That's what you need to see a Bears win this weekend. I'll jump in with 2 feet on this. I want to ask the media, the country, stop calling Bears-Packers a rivalry. It's not right now. It hasn't been in a long time. There's pageantry and there's history and tradition, but it's not a rivalry. Rivalry, look it up. You have to have at least some give back on one side. It's the expression, the hammer does not have a rivalry with the nail. We had Randall Cobb on Good Morning Football this morning, Rich, as part of your well-produced intro to bring the guest on. We stumbled across the fact that Randall Cobb is 13-2 against the Bears, which is one of those things where you say, Rich, and you say it, and you're like, well, that can't be right. I'll have to just trust the researcher. Oh, no. It's right, and Aaron Rodgers may not have another time in Soldier Field. Who knows? This might be the last one, as they call it, Lambeau South, but I'm just going to be completely honest. They are a bunch of revenants in the fact that they kill bears every single time they come out. Jordy Nelson's got a necklace full of bear claws. Randall Cobb does. Aaron Rodgers does. And Justin Fields is supposed to be the end of that thing. If he wins this game, they will change Soldier Field to Fields Field. That's how big of a deal that would be.
It would be that big of a deal, because what about him actually laying down his calling card this way? What happens if that happens? I mean, that is possible. Kyle, I know you said, you're joking about an imagination. I mean, there's no reason why the Bears defense can't play as well or close to in the area code of what the Saints did in week 1 against, Aaron Rodgers. That week 1, disaster that's been already discarded wasn't just because everyone was like, well, Rodgers didn't care and they were sleepwalking and so on and so forth. I mean, the Saints had something to do with it. Bears have the ability to do something like that, don't they?
Well, I think you brought up something that's not mentioned, and because all of the heat and all of the eyeballs go to Matt Nagy and Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. Meanwhile, the Monsters of the Midway, the 2021 Chicago Bears, lead the NFL in sacks. And that's the team that went against another team that gave up 9 sacks in one game, the Browns. It's not the Browns. It's not your undefeated Cardinals. It's none of those teams. It's the Bears. And all of a sudden, Khalil Mack is the best player on the team, and he hasn't been for 3 years, and he's kind of just this great physical force that draws double teams and doesn't run up stats. He's amazing. So listen, here's the problem. They will give you the occasional Packer win this era of Bears football. And the Trubisky Bears with Khalil Mack did beat Rodgers once on their way to an NFC North title. It's just that's the one that keeps you coming back. And if I sound like a self-loathing Chicagoan, it's because years of that. Rich, they call Chicago second city. It's not because of New York. They're second city to Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's just the way that it's been since I was in 8th grade. And my dad said to me, once this bastard Favre retires, then we can finally beat this team. No. Sorry, Dad. After Favre retired, a serial killer who wears number 12 came in for the next 16 years, and I'd be willing to bet that when he leaves, Jordan Love's going to be Joe Montana.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.